This is long hair blow dry. Kiski will be due on Friday. Valley, you'll be due Friday. Burl, you'll be due Friday. So everybody has the time so that we make sure we get this done. Next week we will be doing short hair blow dry. You will need towels. I say 3 to 4 towels. You're going to need round brush. You're going to need standard comb. Five to 6 butterfly clips. And when you're putting your butterfly clips in the ship shape, make sure if it's overflowing, you take a second to help rinse that out. You don't ever want to leave it completely overflowed, especially because we are not the only students in the classroom. Okay, we need to make sure we're cleaning up. When you're in a salon, you will be cleaning up after other stylists as well. You won't need your phones out. You won't need your music in your ears. When you're doing clients, you're not going to want to do that. You want to remain professional at all times. You will need a heat protectant. A leave-in conditioner. Sanex strips, which you'll see are these. Okay, so you can just come pull one off of my cart when you guys are ready. And 2 shampoo capes. We're going to make sure that we help each other with the washer and dryer because this is going to be a lot of towels and a lot of shampoo capes. We want to make sure that we're helping everybody. The biggest thing to know off to the side, one of the key points is do not use shampoo. Do not use shampoo. The next asterisk you want to say, because we are moving from a French twist into this on your long-haired mannequin, make sure you comb out your French twist. If you wet that, it is already teased. You are never going to get it out of the hair. So you want to make sure you brush out the teasing, start with a fresh set of hair, and then you're going to go over to the sink. Okay, I'm gonna need a volunteer to help hold. Go ahead, Natalie. Somebody can write notes for you, or you can copy mine. Okay, so once I have this mannequin in place, I'm going to drape it. So I'm gonna put a towel around my mannequin's neck. After I have my towel in place, I then take my shampoo cape and I snap it into place to hold that towel. The towel is protecting the client's skin from the cape. It's also going to help protect the client if you get water. Unfortunately, it happens if you get your mannequin wet. Now remember, this is your client, so you want to treat it with respect. My towel is here. It's covering her shoulders, and then I have my smock on top. So you're going to come around, and Natalie is going to hold it very gently in the sink. One of the main things you want to make sure is when you are touching this sink, before you do anything, you want to make sure it's clean, because not everybody cleans the sink. When you are done shampooing and you walk your client back to the station, the very next thing you do is take your spray barbicide and you clean the sink out. You clean the handle, you clean the hose, okay? Murphy's oil soap goes on the chair to clean it, but you have to clean your station before you move on to the next. Now, very, very important, you have to hold your hose before you turn the water on. If you do not, you are going to spray water everywhere, okay? So before I turn this nozzle, I'm going to make sure that I hold this hose, I'm aiming down, so if I accidentally bump that, the water doesn't spray everywhere. So I'm already holding this, okay? Make sure you have a towel over to the side of you. So if you need to wipe your client's face off, if you accidentally spray a little bit of water or drops on it, you can take the towel and very gently dab the client's face. You want to test the temperature of the water. My hands are very heat resistant. I can have scalding hot water from years and years of doing this. I don't feel the hot water. So I use, like a baby bottle that you test, I use my wrist. That's how I determine the temperature of the water. Because my hands, I can have it scalding hot into me, it doesn't feel hot. But as soon as you put it on that scalp, scalps are more sensitive, it's going to be really hot to them. So I always start at my wrist, and I can move it to determine the temperature. If you move it all the way to the right, you get warm water. If you move it to the left, you get cold water, okay? At least on this sink. If I move it to the right, I'm getting left. Every sink's going to be different. The water's kind of warm, so what I do is I start by taking my hands and I cup around the client's face. And I'm aiming that water down, okay, away from the face. I'm moving my hands and I'm gliding it to protect the face and also the ear. Human ears will fold down. The mannequins do not. So you cup your hands around so that the water goes down your fingertips instead of in your client's ear. You will probably get water on the client because you're learning. But the more you do this, the better you'll become. You always want to make sure you're always protecting your client's face and ear. A lot of people don't like water in their ears, and a lot of people don't like water down their back. So when you're doing the neck, there's two things that I do in my salon, is I ask my client, can you turn to the left? So they turn their head to the left, and then I get the back part of the neck, cupping my hand to stop the water from going down their back. Then I say, okay, can you turn to the right? Then they turn their neck to the right, and it gives me a better accessibility to the back of the neck without having to lift their head up and water going down their back. So if I'm having them keep their head in the sink but turn, I have a better chance of cleaning that neck without soaking them. Okay, so you can go ahead and put your head normal. And then I'm just making sure that I'm taking it from scalp to end. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my hands and very gently, I'm just going to wring out a good bit of that moisture. Because water will set into the cuticle, and then your conditioner is not going to be able to get in as much because it has that water in there already. So we want to wring it out as much as possible. And then we're going to grab our conditioner. A lot of them have pumps on them, and you just need one pump. It's the size of a quarter. I take my hand and I open my hand up, so now it's all over my hands. Okay, so that gives me, that was one pump. If you have somebody with very fine hair, you are not going to want to put it on the scalp because it's going to look very greasy to your client. If you have medium to thick or thicker hair, you can, depending on how often they wash their hair. I don't like conditioner at my scalp. That's just me. Taking both my hands now I have it on both hands, I'm going to start at the middle part of the hair, and I'm going to start working my way down. I'm going to start by the scalp now, on the hairline, going straight down. I'm not scrubbing the head. I'm not, very vigorous with it because these are mannequins and the hair will knot really, really quickly. So one motion from scalp to ends, making sure that I'm going underneath the neck, making sure that I'm going all sections in the middle of the head. This is the thickest part of somebody's hair. A lot of times if you're washing out your color or you're rinsing out like highlights, all of the hair falls down because of gravity. So right in the middle is where you are going to have that big bulk of hair. You can miss color, you can miss conditioner, you can miss bleach. So you want to make sure you're getting in there and getting it all over the hair, okay? So now that that's complete, again, grabbing my hose so that water doesn't go everywhere, and then turning the water on. I'm gonna rinse my hand because I have conditioner on my hand and I want my hands to be clean. I sneak a quick grab of the towel, and now my hand is drier because I'm going to use that to work around my client's face. I didn't want to have that water on my hands and then I would hit them with water. So now I'm doing exactly what I did before. I'm just going through and I'm rinsing all of that conditioner out. I'm following the water with my hands to help lift some of that hair up gently so that I'm not pulling the client's hair, but I'm allowing that water to get down to rinse that conditioner out of the head. I'm going to have my client turn to the left. I'm going to come to the side, and I'm going to make sure I'm cupping my hands so that I can get all of that conditioner out from underneath the head. Okay? I'm kind of lifting that hair up to let that water get through there. Now I'm coming back to the middle, and I'm going to have them look to the right, and I'm going to repeat that same step. Now once I'm done, I turn the water off, then I let go of the hose. A lot of these hoses have stoppers right here to help that hose face down in case somebody would accidentally bump that nozzle. This nozzle is a pull up, some of them are turned back. The pull ups are harder to knock it to where water would spray, but you always want to keep it in your mind that you want to make sure you're protecting your clients. I made sure that I rinsed and wrung out a good bit of that hair, or the water out of the hair, I'm sorry. I'm placing my towel right around my client's hairline, tucking it, twisting it out, and then all of the hair is in the towel. Okay, her neck is protected so water is not dripping down her neck, water is not dripping around her hairline. I'm going to then walk her to my station. I'm going to put her back. And if you have a client, you would walk your client to your station and then you would say, I will be right back. Just give me 1 minute. I need to clean my station. So she's sitting there just relaxing. And then I'm going to step aside and clean my station. That's really important because if you're busy in a salon and you just did a highlight or a color on somebody, you want to make sure you clean that sink because you don't want there to be a chance of that getting on your next client, on their neck, or on their clothing. So you're going to go ahead and you're just going to spray your sink down. When I did this yesterday, there was actually somebody that did pink on their client and they washed it out, but they didn't clean the sink. So I had to make sure that I was very careful with what I was touching because there was still pink on it. So then I just go ahead and I clean where the neck of the sink is, right underneath the neck, just to make sure. I clean the handle, holding the hose still, because when you pull up, sometimes you'll be like, oh, there's water, and it happens all the time. Don't be embarrassed if it happens. We just clean it up right away to make sure nobody slips and falls, okay? Because safety is first. My sink is nice and dry. I dry off my hands because I don't want to take hands and then I put that in the sink. Okay, so now I'm ready to move on. So the very first thing I'm gonna do, even though I just cleaned all that, I'm gonna sanitize my hands, okay? Now you guys will probably have to flip your page because there's a lot of information. Now, when we're doing the blow dry, I like to take my towel, and as I'm bringing the towel back out of the thank you. As I'm bringing the towel back, I'm kind of like crimping with my hands just to get that moisture out. So that way she's not dripping a pile of water on the floor. It doesn't make any kind of safety concern for myself or for my client if she would have to stand up. I put this out of the way because I don't need it, and I spray just a little bit of a leave-in. Now, if your client has thin hair, you don't want to spray a leave-in because it's gonna weigh the hair down and it's gonna make it look greasy. But she's got a pretty nice head of hair. So I just go in and I just spray a little bit, avoiding her face, okay? Then I'm gonna take my standard comb and I'm gonna do a 4-section block. Okay, so we're gonna go straight down the middle. Making sure we have nice clean partings because this style you want volume. So we want to make sure that we have a good bit. Do we spray the leave-in on the root? No. What would happen if we did? It would get greasy, and what else? Would we be able to get that volume, or would it weigh it down? Very good. Yes, we want to make sure that we are only spraying mid-shaft, which is here down. It's the middle. It's called the middle part of your hair, but another name is mid-shaft. Okay, so we have the root, the mid-shaft, and the ends. So I have one section here, it's out of my way. I have another section over here, nice, right behind the ear. And I'm gonna clip all of that out of my way, making sure it's nice and brushed, nice and smooth, so that I can just drop it down. Then I'm taking this and I'm gonna go right into the middle. So I'm dividing the back into 2 sections, okay? When you do a round brush, you want to make sure that 80% of the moisture is out of your hair before you use the round brush. So you want it 80% dry, okay? So I'm going to take my blow dryer. Does everybody know where to plug your blow dryers in on your stations? Yes? Okay. So my blow dryer is plugged in. What happens if I turn it on and it doesn't work? There's a button on your cord that is a test or a reset. You would hit that and now your blow dryer works. This is a concentrator. They come on and off, okay? So I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna blow dry 80% of this hair before I touch my round brush. Making sure that I'm going down the hair strand. You don't ever wanna blow dry it up. You don't want to blow dry back and forth, because if you do, you're blow drying the opposite direction of the cuticle, which could cause damage, it could cause frizz, and it can cause breakage. So you want to make sure you're always going towards the hair, okay? When you round brush, you want to make sure you're going towards your inner core, so towards that. You don't want to stand there and go back and forth like this. You don't want it, you want it straight down. So you're following that cuticle of your hair. Now I said 5 clips because I'm going to clip sections out of the way while I do this. If you cannot handle that section, make it smaller. Okay, only do what you can control. If it's too much hair, clip it up. They have specific salons that are just blowout bars, where this is all they do, is they blow dry the hair all day. Now I want to make sure that my root is getting dry. The whole end. So now that's 80% dry. I know that this is way too much of a section for me to take in one round brush. It's not, fast is not efficient, okay? We want quality over quantity. So I'm just gonna drop a section down and I'm gonna take a butterfly clip and I'm gonna clip this out of my way, okay? This section to me still feels too large. So I divide it. Clip it out of the way, Okay, that's why you have your clips. You can move the hair around. So the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab my round brush. Taking my round brush, I'm going to start with the hair straight out. My brush is going in. I'm taking my concentrator and I'm aiming that concentrator towards the hair and the brush. Starting at the scalp and working my way down. You see how I'm moving that? Can everybody see? I'm following where that is. I like to use my brush to drop the hair. If you can't do that, that's okay. That's just how I do it. So I have the hair on the brush, I put the blow dryer in there, I re-grab that hair. So that way I always have my tools in my hand. You can grab it with your pinky if you want to, instead of dropping it on the brush. Okay, so see how? Then there's a button on all of your blow dryers that is blue, or it'll say cool. When you're going to release your curl, you hit the cool button and you lock. That helps lock it into place. Hot opens the cuticle, cold closes. That's why a lot of red hair, you want to rinse it out in cool water because you don't want heat on it because it will help that color bleed a lot faster. I'm going down. Now here's where it gets fun. You're going to take it and right before you release it, you turn. And you make the letter C. So I'm going, I turn it, following that brush, I release it. Okay, can you see? Everybody see? It's on cold, so that locks into place. And if I look at it and I'm like, yeah, I don't really like it. I turn the cold off and I go back through because I'm reheating it. I can change it. I release it. Okay, so do you see how I have that volume, but then I have that nice curl? So now I'm going to open my clip and I'm just dropping the section that I had. Picking this back up and re-clipping. Notice I still have my tool in my hand. I didn't set this down. If you grab a section of the piece that you drop down, that's okay. You can just kind of slide it out with your fingers. If you're pulling stuff from the other side, just you can take your blow dryer and you can just re-clip it out of the way to make sure that you're not going to grab that with your brush, okay? Always make it easier for you, don't make it harder. Starting at the scalp, I'm following that brush, I'm taking it from scalp to end, I'm making sure that I have that volume at the scalp. So I'm up, my arms are up. I'm getting ready. I turn the cold on. And I release it. Okay? It is a lot of work and it will take you a while. This is not going to be done in 10-15 minutes. Your arms are going to be sore. You want to make sure that the hair is completely dry. If it is not completely dry, you will lose that shape that you have for the volume and it can get frizzy. Has anybody ever had their hair, you thought it was dry, you went out and it was like, whoops, not completely dry? Yes. Any questions so far? When you're doing the side, I'm going to drop it down. I'm putting my clip. I'm clipping it out of the way. The same thing, okay? I'm gonna start on the side here, dropping it, and I'm still gonna do the same motion. Before I go to release it, I turn it. Okay, that's your C. That's how you get that volume. Now I see the pieces here. This is a pretty big size. I'm just gonna show you what happens if you take too big of a section. See how I'm having trouble controlling it? because it's too wide of a section. My concentrator's not hitting all of it. So I'm not getting that nice volume at the scalp. Now remember, this is a volume style. Do you see how this is over directed and not very volume there? It's because the piece was too big. My section was too wide. And you're taking it here. And you guys have the second shampoo tape just in case you do get your mannequin wet or your client wet. You change the towel and you change your shampoo tape to make sure it's a nice dry tape for your client. I'm moving up and down, moving it down. Now I'm going to make my C. So I turn my pool on and I start to release it. And I see that it's still damp right there. Yeah. I already did. Yeah. Yeah, it was this. Yeah, remember when it was a little towel dry before I did anything, I sprayed the leave-in because she has thicker hair. If you don't have a leave-in or if the hair is too thin, you can do a heat protectant. Anytime you're adding heat, you want something that is going to protect the hair at all times. That product may smoke. Like if you see it smoking, it's not the hair smoking. You're not burning the hair, you're protecting it, and it has a protective barrier that is sitting on top of that hair cuticle. So as you're burning it, you're drying that product out, and it's wet to dry, which gives you smoke. Okay, now if it's smoking, or if you smell burning, stop immediately and hit the emergency stop button that's on each wall. Is everybody aware where they are located in the classroom? So we know if something doesn't seem right, if something pops, what do we do? Emergency stop. Yes. When we're putting our brushes into the ship shape, what do? We remove all of the hair before we put this in the ship shape. So when you guys are running to clean up, you need to make sure that you're following the directions and removing that hair, okay? Does anybody have any questions on this? Do you want me to do the whole section here so you can see what the top will look like? Okay. Now her hair, if you want to feel it, do you guys want to come up and feel it real quick? It is very soft because I used the conditioner, and then I also went in and I used a leave-in. Now this leave-in states that it's a perfect 7. The second thing, it detangles and conditions, but it's also a heat protectant. Okay, so if you are using a leave-in, you want to make sure that it states that on there. I like to use, it's a 10 because it does 10 different things. I use a root boost. When I get up closer to the scalp, I'll show you what I do. I just take the thermal root boost and you just put this on the scalp. You don't want to put it all through the hair, and you just spray it lightly, lifting your sections up so that it's on the scalp. That's going to help you get volume. It's going to swell your hair cuticle while you're styling it. The heat's going to activate it. So I just go in and I scrunch it a little bit with my fingers to make sure that it's on that scalp area. And then I just continue to go in. And that's where you're going to get the main volume at the root area. I just flip that hair over to the other side so that it's being controlled. I lift that piece of hair up. I'm aiming it towards my center. Remember, I'm not blow drying it back and forth. I'm at my center. So everything is controlled. Right when I'm getting ready to release it, I turn it to cool. So my pool's on, and I go. Okay? My next section I'm going to take, I'm right on that scalp, aiming it towards yourself so you don't burn your client. Making sure that you're nice and solid movement. The concentrator's concentrating on that hair. The airflow is going right to where this concentrator area is. If I take the concentrator off, it goes everywhere. Allie just felt it. Put the concentrator on, she doesn't feel it now because it's concentrated to that area where the airflow is being directed. You're going to make sure at your scalp you're going, because remember, this is a volume style. And then I'm going to turn it upright, turn my cold, and I'm going to release it. Okay. Same thing. At the scalp, taking my sections. Don't make fun of me because I have to go on my tippy toes. This is my least favorite thing, is the top of the head because I can't reach it. And then I'm going to put my cool on. And I release that section. Okay? Do you see how much volume is in here just on that area? Okay, so volume is really important. Having a smooth style, a smooth finish is very important as well. Okay, that's why it's so important to not blow dry back and forth or up and down, because you're blow drying that cuticle in the opposite direction that it is. You always want to go in the same direction, always towards your core. Make sure to not have back pain. You engage your core and you're sucking it in while you work. That will help strengthen your back so you're not slouching, and it gives you good posture and you won't have lower back problems. It's ergonomics and hairstyling. Okay, any questions before I let you guys go?
What are the strip things for?
So the Sanex strips go underneath. If you happen to get your client wet, you could put that on, then the towel, then your cape. Okay? I did not get her wet at all, so I didn't need to change anything. But that is in case you do accidentally get it, and it's okay. Don't be afraid if you get the client wet. It happens. Apologize, get them dry as possible, and continue the service. Okay?